Hi everyone, this video is going to be for swatches of Urban Decay's new Naked Skin Shapeshifter palettes. These are supposed to be contouring, highlighting, and color correcting palettes that contain both powder and cream products in them. And they come in two different shade sets, the light medium and the medium dark. I will show both of them to you in this video, and each of these retails for $45. You can purchase them through Sephora and Ulta, and also through Urban Decay. I'll put a link in the description box below to where you can find them to purchase. So like I said, the palettes each contain 3 powders for contouring, 1 powder for highlighting, and then in terms of the cream colors, there are 2 cream colors for contouring, 2 for color correcting, and a pearl shade for highlighting. In the video, I will give you swatches with a powder brush or my fingers, depending on whether it's a cream or a powder, and I will give you my first impressions of each of the palettes. You can also go to the link in the description box below if you want to see photos of the swatches, and I hope you're subscribed to the channel. Link to the blog sale is in the description box below, and let's get looking at the colors in these new Shapeshifter palettes. Alright, so here are what the palettes look like. They are thick and heavy, a little bulky in terms of the packaging. You open them up and there are 2 sides. On one side it opens up and it has the powder products. There is a mirror in the center and also on the other side, so that's pretty convenient. And on the other end, or the other side of the palette, you have your cream products. It's nice to have this divider, not only for the mirror, especially for the division of the powder from the creams, because the powders will get dusty and you don't want that transferring into the creams. And a great example of this comes with the light medium palette, which came from Sephora to me, completely crumbled. I sort of pressed the powders back into the pans, but this is kind of a good illustration because the creams on the other side were more or less kept isolated and safe from all of the powder that went everywhere on the other side of this palette. Alright, so I'm sorry this isn't very pretty to look at, but just in terms of the shades, I will swatch them from left to right. So you have your 3 kind of contouring shades, although this shade is going to be more of a highlighting shade for most purposes, and then the highlighting shade that has shimmer in it on the end. So the way the palette's set up, you start with the deep contouring shade. And remember, we're starting out with the light medium palette. It's very pigmented. Then you have the medium contour shade. I would say that this is definitely more appropriate for true contouring in the hollows of the cheek, along the nose, whereas the darker shade is going to be better for, you know, more dramatic contouring perhaps, but it's warmer in tone, so also more of like a bronzing shade. And this is labeled as the light contouring shade, but I really can't see this being used as a contour. It is more of a matte highlight for the face. It's a light cream shade. And on the far right end, we have the pearl highlighting shade. This again is a very soft, nudie champagne. Okay, so from the light medium palette, there you have the 3 quote-unquote contouring shades on the left, and on the far right, your pearl highlight. And I'm just going to give you heavy swatches. This sometimes helps people who have different skin tone from mine. Alright, dark, medium, and light contours, and the highlighter at the right. Alright, and now moving on to the cream products in the light medium palette. We have the dark contour and then the light contour. Then we have the first color corrector. This is like a salmon color corrector. And another color that they say can be a color corrector or a highlight. And last up is the pearl highlight. Again, this is a very light champagne color. Okay, there are your 4 contour / color correctors, and then the highlighting cream at the right. I forgot to show these to you before I swatched them, but in terms of the cream colors, here's what they look like in the pans from left to right. Alright, moving on to the medium dark palette. Here are the powder shades up close. And here are the cream contouring shades and correcting shades and the highlighting shade on the right. Alright, I'm First swatching the dark contour shade. Again, you see how pigmented it is. I'm not picking up a ton of product, but it's super, super pigmented right away. Next up is the medium contour shade. This is the light contour shade. Again, I think this is really a matte highlighter and not a contour. And last up is the pearl highlighter. This has a duochrome finish. It's a pink with a pretty strong gold flash. And actually on my skin, it's mostly gold. You don't really see that pink very much. All right, so there you go up close with the 3 contouring shades on the left and the pearl highlighter on the right. All right, and for heavy swatches, here's the deep contour, the medium contour, the matte highlight, and the pearl highlight. All right, here are those shades up close. Now, the heavy swatch, you can see that pink a lot better, but once you blend it out, I think the gold kind of overtakes. All right, and swatching the cream colors for you, here's the deep contour and the medium contour, which seems much, much lighter compared to the powder. Sorry, this is the light contour, not the medium contour. Then you have the first color corrector and the second color corrector slash highlight. And last up is the pearl highlight, which isn't as duochromy. This seems like a light champagne. All right, here are your 5 contour creams up close. All right, so those are the 2 new Urban Decay Shapeshifter palettes. I would say that on first impression, the formula is really beautiful. The powders are super, super silky and soft to the touch. You can see that they're very pigmented. Now, what I'm going to be interested in when I test them out on the face is how smoothly they apply, because you saw a little bit of patchiness in the swatches, but I do want to say that face powders are the most finicky, and there's usually the most difference between when you swatch them on your arm versus actually applied to the face. Whereas other products like eyeshadows, lipsticks, those stay pretty consistent to your first impression when you're swatching them, but face powders change more in comparison. So I will let you know in a monthly favorites video or an upcoming video what I think of the actual formula and application. The same sort of qualities for the cream contouring products. Silky smooth, they go on really nicely, they seem to have good pigmentation. Again, hopefully that will stay true in actual application and use. In terms of the color selection for each of them, I think my only real commentary is that I think that even the light medium contouring palette, it's going to be difficult for people who have light to fair skin to use those colors. They're going to need shades that are even lighter than what's included in those palettes. Now, to be fair, it says light medium. It doesn't say light or fair to light. So maybe one day Urban Decay will add an option for people who are even more fair. And for the medium dark palette, I kind of wish that cream highlighter were more consistent with the pearl powder highlighter, because it has a really beautiful duochrome for that pink and gold, whereas the cream one is just a straightforward champagne-y color. It would have been interesting and more unique to have a cream that had that same duochrome, but then again, it gives you more versatility to have 2 different kinds of finishes if you don't want that duochrome effect. So anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you've tried these out. If you haven't and have been interested in trying them, hopefully this video was helpful to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch as always, and I'll see you in the next video.